Starting off with new settings they added in Season 4 is the buy stations closes when damaged. So this is a new one they just put in. The buy station overlay will automatically close every few seconds if you are attacked by an enemy. You want to make sure this thing is off because it drives you crazy if you're getting shot off, shot on, off on, off on. Just make sure that setting is off. And hey, while we're in the gameplay HUD, let me walk you through the other settings that you need to be having in Call of Duty in 2025. We're gonna go mini map shape square, and then we're also gonna go compass type horizontal. And then what I do on map assist is auto center. So when you open the map, it centers right where you are instead of kind of going all over the place. I like to have it centered on top of me. Then we're gonna go back up to controller, and then we're gonna do a couple things in here. So you have your horizontal stick sensitivity and your vertical. So that's left, right, up, and down. I run 1.5, 1.7. I like to have a 1.7 on my vertical because there's a lot of verticality on this map. And when you're looking up at buildings, windows, stuff like that, you want to move a little bit faster. So I highly recommend you change it to a little bit faster on there. Then go to controller vibration. You want that off. You don't want shaky hands. Then you want to go ahead and go to Deadzone inputs and make sure you test your dead zones on your controller. So if you turn that on here, my camera's blocking it, but right now it'll show you a movement or jitteriness on your stick dead zones if you turn that on. Mine doesn't move, but I run left stick 4 and then I run left stick max 70. What that means is when you push your left stick, how far do you have to push it to engage to go? So 70 is great. 99, you don't need it there. You want to activate it as fast as possible. Right stick for me is 6. Right stick max is 99. Don't touch that. And then make sure your left and right trigger are not on 13. That's what they come stock with. You want to make sure they're on 0 and 0 because when you hit the trigger, you want to have it pull the trigger. You don't want any delay in that. Then we're going to bounce over to aiming, and we're going to make sure in our aiming advanced settings, aiming response curve is on dynamic. I'm going to have my response curve slope scale at 1. I don't do any custom sensitivity per zoom. I don't go that far deep with it. And then make sure your transition timing is instant. Sometimes you get reset on gradual. I don't know why, but just make sure you're on instant instead of gradual. Then we're going to go back out, target aim assist on, ADIS aim assist on. You don't have to worry about nothing in the motion sensor advanced settings. Don't believe any TikTok people or what they tell you. That stuff is garbage. You don't need to touch any of that. Then we're going to go over to movement, tactical sprint assist. Make sure that is on that, not off on. You want tactical sprint assist so you constantly will run. And then you want it on 0 because why would you want a delay? That seems kind of crazy. So sprint assist sideways on, sprint assist backwards on, mantle assist off, crouch assist off, and corner slicing off. Now make sure your slide dive behavior is on hybrid because you don't want it on tap to slide because it's not really tap to slide. It's tap, hold, then slide. And I don't really use the tap to dive or slide only or dive only. Get used to hybrid. I promise you it's going to do you wonders if you can get used to hybrid. Automatic airborne mantle, you want that off. Sprint restore on. Slide maintain sprint is going to be on. Parachute automatic behavior off. Mantle cancels reload off. You don't want anything canceling your reload. Movement advanced settings. So make sure you go in here, and this is going to be pretty simple, but you want to make sure your auto door peak is off. Sometimes it gets turned back on after an update, and I don't know why. So just double check that. Make sure that's off. Then we're going to go down vehicle advanced settings. Not a whole lot here. What I do is free look instead of behind vehicle. I do like that. Then we're going to go over to combat. Couple things on combat. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we apply all on our plates. We're going to go ahead and go into advanced settings here, and then make sure your weapon mount exit is instant because sometimes it gets done a short delay. You want to pop off real quick. Interact reload behavior, prioritize interact. Sprint cancels reload is off. And then you want to make sure that these settings are dialed in for you. Then we're going to go back out and we're going to go to our graphics settings. Now these are going to be different depending on you're on console or you're on PC, but here is what I highly recommend you do. NVIDIA reflex low latency on plus boost. I run at 5090 with a 9950 RTX and I still run on plus boost because I'm still bottlenecked a little bit on my CPU, so it can't hurt to have that on. VSync off. VSync menus off. I do unlimited frame limit. Now, if you're having some issues, you can go ahead and put a frame rate where you want to take a look at your monitor. My monitor is actually a 480 hertz monitor. If you have a lower hertz monitor like 240, you want to put like 237. I've seen that help people, but make sure that's unlimited or custom at 3 below. And then go ahead and I put reduce quality when active. I put 10 minutes. High dynamic range, I put automatic. And then over on quality, what I really like is Fidelity FX Cast. And I run that at 90. Now, if you're having issues running that at 90, then you want to go ahead and move that down. But I love the clarity on buildings, on trees, on the textures and everything else. It looks really good. NVIDIA DLSS frame generation off, AMD off, scale target at 70. You can move that up and down depending on how your computer can handle it. I run 70. I think it's going to be best. Variable rate shading, make sure this is on. I've seen a lot of people say that it's off. You should have that on. It helps a ton. Now here's some things. I'd like my game to look really good. I can go ahead and lower this all the way down to low and get more frames, but I want my game to look good and feel good. And so texture resolution, I run high, but you can get away with running normal. I run ultra. You can run normal. That's totally fine. Like I said, I just want my game to look a little bit different. Depth of field off, detail quality high. Again, that's a personal preference. It will eat frames, but with my 5090, I can do that. So I would go, if you're having problems with frames, to go to normal. Particle resolution, I do very low. Bullet impacts off. I turn that off and on. It just depends on if I'm in the firing range and I want to see my bullets. I'll turn it back on. Persistence effects off. Shader quality medium. Now this one's a key one. You don't need high, but you don't want to go to low, because if you low, it just looks really weird in your game. Medium is going to be the way you want. On-demand texture streaming, minimal. Low texture streaming quality, low. Shadow quality, normal. Screen space shadows off. Occlusion off. Screen space reflections off. Static reflection quality, low. Tessellation, I turn completely off. Volumetric low, off, and off. We'll go ahead and save that. Now we're going to go over to audio. A couple things on my audio, and I've done a video for audio, so you can go ahead and check it up in the card above here. But here's what I run. Enhanced headphone mode on. Don't pay for the extra 20 bucks. It's not worth it. I've tested all the audio mixes. That's the video I was just talking about. Sucker Punch sounds the best. You hear footsteps better. You just get an overall sense. Mono off, mute game when minimized off, mute licensed music off, everything's off. I don't test any of the frequency intensity. I haven't gotten to that, but I might make a video later. Leave a comment down below if you want me to do that. Reduce tinnitus sound on. Hit marker preset, I do classic. And then I go over to voice chat, I run 50 because it's sometimes super loud. And then I go on, all lobby and just default. I have push to talk, and you can see I use the letter Z. It's actually hooked up to my controller right here on the right side. It's kind of nice if I push that button on my Scuff and Vision, so I don't have to use a pedal. So then I can talk in game and then talk in Discord. Then we're going to go over and go to interface. So a couple things on interface you're going to want to take a look at. Under the global setting, just make sure your gameplay tips are off. You don't want, introduction movie, skip kill cam. You can skip it or not. I recommend you don't skip it. I turn my telemetry stuff here with the FPS counter and everything so I can see what's going on. And then I go ahead and go to readability, and then you want to go down to color customization. Now I'm colorblind, so this actually helps a ton, but you can use it without being colorblind. I do the Trinitopia because that helps me for my colorblindness, but I also went in and changed the colors. So you can see that it will change the colors underneath my camera. Like watch it change. So there's Pro, there's Deuteronomy, there's Try, and then you can do custom. I leave it on Try, but I changed my color to yellow, and I changed my party to blue, and you can kind of change all these colors in here to see what would work better for your eyes that stands out more. These work better for me, but then if you go down, you want to go color filter, filter 2, color filter target, both. You want interface and the world, so you do both. And then intensity 100, interface color intensity 100. This makes players pop out more, easier for you to see them when they're running across the map, stuff like that. So make sure you're changing that up. Now we're gonna head back over to graphics, and you wanna go to view. A couple things in here, motion reduction preset, leave that off. Field of view, I fluctuate between 115 and 120. I've done an FOV video before, but I like 115 or 120. Again, keep in mind, at 120, you'll have less visual recoil. The lower you go in FOV, like back to 115 or 110, you have more visual recoil. So kind of pick your poison there. I go with 120. ADS field of view is always going to be affected. You want wide, you don't want narrow, because you get a better view of everything in the game. Third person is going to be 90. Vehicle field of view is wide, although that's kind of buggy because mine switches from wide to narrow all the time on its own, and it's a pain. World motion blur off. You want weapons motion blur off. First person camera, at least 50%, and third person 50%. You want third person ADS inverted flashbang off, and then you want first person on your parachute. Now on these least 50, that helps with the shake. You don't want a bunch of shake on your character, so that will help. Now go back to display. I run borderless full screen because I have multiple monitors, but you'll get more frames if you run full screen exclusive. But I run it because I need to be able to go to other screens. When I'm recording or streaming, I need multiple monitors, so that's what I do. A couple other things in the settings you want to change that you might not even think about is going to go, I go over and I turn off dismemberment and gore effects, because when I'm shooting, I don't want blood in the way of me seeing the other enemies, so I turn that off. You can go to your privacy choices and you just tell them not to sell your data. I know it sounds kind of course, but people forget it's in there. And then you can do your profanity filter, which I turn on because people will say the craziest things, guys, and it's just nuts. So I just turn that on because I don't want to see any of that stuff. And hey guys, that's the settings you're going to want to make sure you're going with season 4. And if you got 10 more minutes, go ahead. I highly recommend you check out this video right here where I break down why you are inconsistent in Warzone and how to fix it. If you have the time, you know the routine. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn notifications on. Also, if you want to join the Discord and our community nights, the link for Discord will be in the description for you. So hit that up and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks.